is going on, y'all? It's Gabe Turner coming back again with another behind the scenes vlog, but this time we're doing something a little bit different. So for those of you that follow me on Instagram, you know I did a little bit of a poll the other day asking if y'all wanted to see the behind the scenes process for the composition as well when it comes to scoring for this film. All right, so a majority of y'all responded yes, so I'm happy about that. So without further ado, let's get right into this thing. All right, y'all. So when we open up MuseScore, we'll see that I got the first little setup right here. All right, we got the oboes and the clarinets set up to go with some percussion. This part is playing on repeat, and then I got another repeat where the strings jump in, along with the contrabasses. It's called contrabassoons, but contrabasses, you get what I'm saying. All right, so let's take a little listen to what I got so far right here. You get the picture, all right? It's supposed to be an epic battle scene, battle soundtrack for the battle scene at Sherwood Meadows. Sorry, I tripped over my words a bit there. All right, so as you may notice, all right, what's up with all these empty horns? We got trombones, trumpets, French horns. What's up with all these empty horns? All right, we got to fix that, all right? So what we can do is we can come up with a nice little counter melody, all right, to basically supplement what you hear in the oboes and clarinets, all right? But then this will basically kind of enrich that and give it more texture, in addition to the percussion that you're hearing as well. So, all right. So that's what the note is for the main melody for the oboes and clarinets. Maybe for the French horns, let's do something a bit different. All right, I still want the same rhythm, so we're going to make this an eighth note as well. All right, this is a fifth above what we got right here. Right here, we got a D natural in the oboes, so let's go a fifth above, all right, in these French horns. All right, again, I want the same rhythm. With the A. All right, and now the rhythm gets a little bit finicky here, right? You got to use the quarter note setting right here to make a quarter note right here. And then what you got to do is I'm going to have to rearrange these rests, all right? So split that into there and then do a 16th right there. All right. So that I can get the same note value of an eighth when I do this counterpoint right here. All right. And I just realized in the French horns, all right, we're actually copying the same type of counterpoint that we got in oboe number 2, right, which that's totally fine. That'll pretty much, again, just enrich the texture, make it more, you know, powerful sounding, deliver that power punch that I'm looking for with this battle soundtrack. All right, when that's the case, once we're doing that, we have the pattern set up, we can just go ahead and copy paste these notes from the oboe part into the French horns. Good old copy paste. All right, copy paste is your best friend, especially when you're a composer. All right. Now, unfortunately, we see that this note is a bit too high. We can tell because it's basically grayed out right there. All right. So we will unfortunately have to change this melody because this is too high for the French horn players, and I would prefer for the French horn players and orchestra to still have their lungs after recording this piece, because we all like to have lungs. Am I right? So maybe going a fifth above is a bit too much for the French horns. Let's find something a bit different, shall we? All right, so we found a bit of a better counter melody now that the French horn players can actually play. We're just going to go down to the B instead. All right, B natural, just right below that middle C line. Basically, this is still a chordal tone within the key, within the D major chord. So pretty much, we're just going to bump all these down, and then that way it is now within a range that all the French horn players will be able to perform their part as needed. All right, we're going to have to readjust it a little bit, unfortunately. So let's just do that real quick. All right, also sorry about that. I had to take a bit of a break and fill in some more stuff just because I didn't want to, extensively long clip on filling in the horns. So anyways, you can see I've got some counterpoint stuff going in the French horns as well as one of the B-flat trumpets. So let's just play it back real quick. Again, you get the idea. So, I've encountered this with orchestral composition before, so I'm going to do the same thing here in this one as well. All right, y'all, when you have a B-flat trumpet, or, well, any trumpet for that matter, right? The trumpet, as rule of thumb, it's always going to take some sort of level of precedence just because the trumpet is that loud, even when played at like a piano dynamic. All right, so what are we going to do? All right, we're just going to go to the instruments, right? We're going to find one of the trumpets, all right? And just remove that from the score. Hit that. There we go. Now we only got one trumpet and we got a couple trombones to work with now. All right. Now for the trombones, we don't really need to come up with too much new stuff. We can also just do this thing where we take what's in the French horns and then just copy paste them into the trombones, but an octave below. And again, that'll just make the texture thicker, more powerful. So let's move those bad boys an octave down. All right, same thing with this pair of French horns. We're going to put that in the second trombone. All right, and then we got the octaves backing each other up in the French horns and the trombones, and then the kind of the dissonance in the trumpet. All right, and the trumpet, I did the dissonance on purpose. Now, this is obviously a personal choice, but I did the dissonance on purpose in the trumpet because this is a battle soundtrack. It's chaotic, it's dusty, there's gunfire, there's tanks, there's explosions. All right, so it doesn't really make sense to have a nice, peaceful, eloquently ordered soundtrack. All right, if you don't believe me, listen to Beethoven's Wellington's Victory. It's a perfect example of that. All right, so now we got those octaves filled in. All right, now let's play it back, see what it sounds like. All right. So it does sound pretty good. Nice, thick, and rich. Again, the trumpet has some dissonance. You can also kind of balance that out by just going over here to the dynamics, label that as piano. And while we're at it, probably do the same for the rest of the horn section as well, just because, again, horns are very powerful instruments. They're going to drown out those clarinet and oboe players if we're not careful. So let's just put a nice little piano dynamic on there. All right, and now this little tuba, all right? Now, in my experience writing for the tuba is a very low bass instrument, right? So, as such, all right, we don't need to put too much eloquent stuff in there, especially when we got all this going on in the other horns in the horn section. So, we can just do a... All right, a low F. Maybe now, let's just make that 2 beats, eh? All right. And pretty much we could just have that bass line going throughout the entire first section here of this piece. All right, if we want to make it a bit more interesting, we can always put an accent on that last little note. All right, and then this, because the tuba is a very low instrument, we can give that tuba player permission to play a little bit louder. Again, get that thick basso continuo, all right, to add to this texture of this percussion, the other horns, and then these other instruments up here. All right, flute will probably come into play a little bit later. All right, sorry, flute players, whoever of y'all is watching this. All right, so again, let's just get that simple basso continuo, copy paste it into there. All right. We don't need the dynamic repeated when it's already been repeated once. All right, now let's play it back, see what we got. All right, so in the second section, this part you're hearing is the strings. Okay, maybe I was a bit wrong. We should probably just keep the tuba at the same dynamic as the rest of the section to avoid confusion. All right, now let's play it back just once. All right, now it sounds a little bit more better, more even. Again, the horns are not just drowning out the oboes and clarinets. All right, and then if you really want to get creative, there also is a way to just have this one section come in the second repeat through. So basically the first repeat through, you'd only hear the oboes and clarinets. And then the second time of the repeat is when the horns would jump in. You can also do that to add a bit more tension and excitement and just dynamic contrast to the piece. So yeah, that'll kind of just be it as far as this first section goes. And I'll probably start moving on to the second section from here. And there you have it, y'all. That's just a little bit of the piece of the process for what it comes down to when scoring for these types of films, doing these types of scores, etc. Right now, this genre in particular today was orchestral. Probably maybe next time around to do this, I'll be doing a choral piece so y'all can see what it's like doing 4-part voicing for vocals, because the choral piece, which will be at the end credits of this film, will also have a piano accompaniment as well. So that takes a lot of different the voicing and the composition skill set than an orchestral piece does. So hey, I'm excited to have y'all along for the ride, and I hope y'all enjoy this ride as much as I do. I cannot wait to show y'all the premiere of this film. Seriously, I cannot stress that enough. Y'all are gonna love it. I promise. All right, until next time, this is Gabe Search for 100 out.